As we were lifting off and moving away from Outpost 9209, I was thinking about the operation ahead of us, and how it would be the largest frontier undertaking we have ever done since the patch mission we had to undergo a few genyons ago, when we were having problems securing the initial data towers in the Central East region of the Great Razor Pass. We were still developing our hybrid organic mounting technique, and were losing towers very frequently. This was after the initial spread was coming up too thin in coverage, but we had run out of flatland in the needed regions. It wasn't like what we are dealing with right now in the pass, deliberate acts of sabotage. It was a combination of faulty design and extreme weather that was unrelenting. As the engineers scrambled for some kind of fix which would lead to a much more improved and flexible alternative, we ran a patrol along the mid-range of the pass, acting as a large relay for glitched communications between the expanse and the initial settling in the overlands. One complete turn took an entire spin, start to finish. That was before the endeavor was completed. I was navigating the first Rover Prime at the time, testing the durability of that relatively new craft as well during the process. It was actually that operation that gave us some of the final design ideas that went into the endeavor, which I have been navigating since the days of the mid-overland spread. It was especially beneficial in our development of the communications center on board. Dana was one of the members of that initial team, and she soon shot up among the others, with both her ideas and her passion for it. It was not a surprise when she accepted our offer to come on as lead in communications on the soon-to-be-launched endeavor. Nor was it a surprise when she soon requested permanent assignment, and joined me and Charlie as residents of Endeavor. That's not to say we don't own our own dwellings. We do, and must maintain active structures on our colony claims in order to hold on to them through the end of the flexing period. I think Charlie has extended family living in his. I rent mine out. I actually don't know if Dana has any land concerns. It's never come up between us. We still have very few Rover Primes in our fleet. They tend to be overkill for what we generally need, and tend to be relegated to outlying regions in large areas that will likely remain sparsely populated, or not populated at all, other than by one of our colonial industries. In fact, we only have 3 Rover Primes in our fleet, and haven't built a new one in over 3 genyons, which, as best as I can determine, is over 6 of your years. A genyon is a measure of time for us. It is short for generation unit, and represents 1/10 of a generation. The average lifespan in my world is usually between 45 and 55 genyons, which, from the best that I can determine, is probably somewhere around 85 to 110 of your years. The way you track progression, what you call time, can be very confusing for me. Your world seems to view progress as something that moves. You move through time, as your culture says. In my world, we both measure and envision progression much differently. Like your idiom, apples to oranges, it is such a different concept, it is hard for me to describe. There is one portion of it that involves 3 lines, and another that involves swelling or expansion. As if your experiences are being collected inside a bag. For lack of a better example, that symbolic bag getting larger is how the people in my world think of what you, in this world, would call time passing. And you have to remember that I am not only coming from a world with very different physical and cultural parameters, I am having to use the mind of a host with diminished mental capacity.